Hello, friends. Excited to spend a little bit of time with you today. I've got one problem that I wanted to work through with you from scratch. I feel like it's always a good idea every once in a while to work through a problem from scratch, and I haven't done that for a little bit, and so um, I'd like to go ahead and do that with you now. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and this is the problem that I want to work through with you today. So I'm going to pop over to Eclipse and I'm going to work through this problem. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I've got exercise solutions, and these are all solutions to exercises in Daniel Liang's Intro to Java Programming. So I'm going to do CH4 exercise. Oh, no, let's stick with the local, exercise, I already forgot, 16. Okay, I'll include a public static void because this one's going to be pretty self-contained, hopefully. Now, the first thing I do before I get too excited about anything, I like to do all right, so let's make sure that this is working. And we see that it is, and that's exciting. Okay, now I've got a little bit more faith. Now let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's space this out just a little bit. Actually, let's do a different email address. That's my work email address. And so if anybody needs anything, you can usually email me. If it gets blocked as spam, I am truly sorry. You can also Google that email address and it's got my phone number. Okay, so let's begin. It says, write a program that displays a random uppercase letter using math.random. Okay, well, let's review math.random right quick. Double random equals math.random, right? Okay, so we can save that, we can run that, no problems there, but it doesn't print us off anything. So SYSOUT and then hit control space and it auto-populates that in this IDE. Just concatenate this in here. And now we can print it. And we can see it's between 0 and 1, not including 1. So, and it just cranks off some randomness. Okay, now we need to do an uppercase letter. And so I just did a Google search right quick, and this gives me the ASCII table. Okay, so we need uppercase. So let's keep scrolling down. There we go. This is where uppercase starts at 65, and it ends at 90, right? So now let's just generate a number. Well, let's do this. Let's do int number equals 65. Okay, now this is a little trick that I've learned. And we can just, this is called recasting. So I'm going to recast this as a character, and I'm going to do number. I think I might have got the syntax right. I might have got it wrong. But before we get too excited, yeah, And see, that's exactly what we would expect. Okay. That's some good stuff. All right, so in order to get our random number into the range that we want, so I'm going to say double random with offset equals random. Okay. Over range equals random plus, no, random times, we want to make sure we get the range right. And so we know our upper range is going to be 90 minus, what was our lower range? $65. Okay. 65. All right, now I'll do control space to make it sys out plus control space makes it do that. Okay. Yeah, 23, good. 17, 8, 17, 17, 8, 6. Okay, so it seems to be getting some ranges that are close to 26. And 26 is what we're looking for, right? Because there's 26 letters in the alphabet, something like that. Believe it or not, I'm actually not that clear on that because my brain has turned a little bit to mush. And that's something that I got confused on when I was a little child, and I've never gotten past that. And so you ask me how many letters there are in the alphabet, I'm liable to say 24. Pretty sure the answer is 26, and I've memorized that, but I don't actually feel that internally. I just know that my internal answer is wrong, so I have to give you a different answer than my internal answer. So that's why that's always a little confusing to me, and I don't trust this. Now, we need to do one more step. We need double random over range plus offset equals random over range plus, so if our first number is 65, then we need to add, I think 65 in order to get this to go. And so now we'll do, it's getting a little long to type, so we'll do this. And these two should be grouped together. So I'm going to delete that white space because that doesn't make sense there. Copy this, paste it here, over the range, plus offset is, let's run this again. Yeah, 68, 89, 71. Okay, so I would be in the wrong if I did not tell you one joke. And this joke is very important to me. And anybody that's worked with me for any amount of time, hopefully you know this joke. So what are the two most difficult things about becoming a programmer or being a programmer or life as a programmer in general? So first, typos. And if you've watched any of my videos or you've worked with me, you know I make a lot of typos. The second one is coming up with good variable names that are descriptive and useful. So the two biggest problems are typos, good variable names, and off by one errors. That's why it's funny. Okay, all right. So here we go, friends. I have no idea if this is correct or not. but we can start to play with this just a little bit, right? And now I can say, we can drop this in here and just, I'm going to copy this because the odds of me making a typo right now are pretty good. Let's see if this works. So U M K D. Okay. So, like I said, I don't know if this is going to work or not. So I've got a way that I'm going to do a test. Now, for those of you that are watching that are currently studying chapter 4, well, how many times do you want to push the go baby go button until we get an A? And the answer is a few. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Almost immediately after the strings and libraries chapter, there's almost always a chapter on loops. Maybe some of you have already studied loops before, but the concept of a loop is we can have the computer keep mashing the button for us and keep running these things, and we don't have to keep doing it. And that's nice, right? So I'm going to set up that just a little bit. So I'm going to say character looking for equals, and I'm going to do an A, right? I don't know much about the alphabet, but it usually starts with A. That's where I'm going to start. Okay, so I'm going to do, from chapter 2, we had this little thing, Boolean, and we're going to say, found it, and I'm going to say false, because right now, we haven't actually seen an A come across the screen. We haven't. And so now I'm going to introduce you to a while loop. If you haven't studied this yet, don't worry about it too much. The concept is while some condition is true, so not found it. And that little exclamation point out front just means not. So if we wanted to make our lives easier, we could just do something like this. We could say not found it equals true. Copy that. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to collapse this code into a single line. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say if I forget if I can get away with this. You know what? I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to just do a Google search right quick. Java compare to characters. Stack Overflow and Java Point. Very good stuff. Yeah. Oh, and way to Java. Let's give that a try as well. Okay. Oh, okay. So it looks like we can just use the comparators, right? Like that. Character value of X compare to, so this is if X and Y, I would guess are static, int compare. Public static int compare. Huh. Well, let's give that a shot. That's not something I've tried before, but let's try it. What was the syntax? And now we're going to have to get the second part. So how we're going to do this is we're going to recast to a character. I'm going to drop this all in some parentheses. And I'm going to say it's going to be math.random. And then I'm going to multiply that by 26. And I'm going to add on 65. Now, for me, this is cringeworthy. I don't really like this. Oh. Oh, I see. We should take this, pop it out front. Now that's going to recast that to an int compare. Now it's comparing characters and characters. Maybe you just pop this off. Whoop, whoop, whoop. No, still does not like that. Okay. So let's try it this way. Let's just pop this off. Hey, it allows that. Okay. Instead of trying one we haven't found, let's try one that we have seen. So I remember you popped up a couple of times. So let's just say, found it. And then let's also add in not found it now is going to be equal to false, right? And so this is going to pop us out of this loop. And let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Okay, so we did find it, right? Now we just need to change this to every single letter in the alphabet and verify that it's there. Please understand that I'm extremely lazy, and this is kind of a prep for my discussion for next week, which is in chapter 5, which is an introduction to loops. Okay, so let's play with this just a little bit. For, lowercase 4, and let's do character. I don't know if that's going to allow that or not. I'm going to try it. Actually, for int, let's modify this a little bit. My brain works like this. Looking for, and okay, so for int number to check equals 65. Number to check less than or equal to 91. Oh, 90. Number to check plus plus. And we'll talk about this in just a little bit, so don't get too worried just yet. Hopefully, let's piece this together, and let's say I'm going to come down here. I'm going to reset. I'm going to say not found it is equal to true, while not found it, keep looking for it. But we need to come in here and we need to actually say, looking for is equal to, and this is going to be number to check. Now, I'm going to tell you, might have screwed something up here. Oh, we have to recast this. We basically need to tell it, hey, whatever this integer is, go ahead and find it. Now, one of the different types of printing is just this, without doing the print ln, but just doing a straight print. I'll say looking for. Now, to make this look pretty, I'm going to add a space on the end, and then like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let this start working. Cool. So I'm going to spread this up just a little bit. Looking for A, found A. All right, so let's talk about the for loop right quick. So to call a for loop in Java, it's just FOR. Same syntax as C, Python, and a lot of other languages. You say, okay, what's the variable that I'm creating? Now, a for loop is actually a custom method, and we'll talk about custom functions and custom methods later. In Python, they're called functions, and C, they're called functions, and Java, they're called methods. Anyway, we're creating a local variable called number to check. Now, number to check actually is only going to exist from yay to yay, right? That little block of code. So it's a local to this method. And in number to check, we started out by saying, hey, why don't you start with the number 65? Now, the syntax, the way the for loop works, and if you haven't heard me tell the joke before, the joke doesn't work with Susan or Janelle, or there's a lot of other names that you can use. The joke is Frog walks into a bank and Frog wants to borrow a loan, make a loan to borrow money, and the teller's like, mm-mm. And the teller's name is Patty Black, right? And so the teller goes up to her manager, and her manager says, hey, Patty Black, how's it going? And she's like, yeah, the frog wants to borrow money. And she's like, did he have any collateral? She said, no, but he did have this piece of well-shaped porcelain. And so the bank manager looks at her and she says, that's a knick-knack, Patty Black. Give the frog a loan. His old man's a rolling stone. So anyway, I rushed through the joke and I get that, but it doesn't work if her name is like Beatrice or something like that. Patty Black has the right alliteration to it, and it makes the joke work. Same concept here with the for loop. You tell it where you want to start, you tell it what you want to stop, and you tell it what you want to do when you get to the end of the loop. So what's the end of the loop? Well, this is where our curly bracket starts. This is where it stops. So this is our loop. And the end of the loop is after you go through once, you're going to come here and you're going to do this. Now, this is the increment operator. And basically all it says is when you get to the end of the loop, go ahead and add one to this. Okay, so we start out at 65. So we're looking for 65. The character for 65, we know from the ASCII table, is going to be A. And so I don't trust my math because I make a lot of mistakes. And so I say I'm looking for A. Now, we come in here and while not found it, and we just keep recalling this same part. Now, the thing that we're not actually printing off that would make this a lot more confusing is the else. So we could just use blank spaces so you could kind of see how long this takes. Some of these letters take a long, long time. Some of them not so much. It'll be an interesting graphic to see. So I'm gonna come in here and else, right? I'm going to say sys out, and I'm going to just do a space. So you'll kind of see the letters jump over just a little bit to see how long it takes them to find it. So we can see we found A after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, maybe a dozen. D we found after 1, 2 tries. Lucky. Somebody out, look. Probably found a couple letters in there a couple times before we found P once. So this is just kind of a visual to see how these things go. So anyway, this is a nice little introduction to for loops. It's a nice little introduction to while loops. It's also a nice connection to the looking at the characters and dealing with the ASCII tables. So anyway, this is just a fun little program. I hope you had a good time with it. Let's take a step back and let's actually look at the code that we needed to do the part that they're asking for. In truth, in reality, this is it. And we could have just grabbed this code and we could have just parked it right here, and we could have done something like this. And see, you know, it's going to create a random character, and every time we run it, it's going to create a different random character. And just in this one line of code, we could have been done with this. And I get that. But I also want you to know, for me, that's not nearly as much fun. And I feel like there's a lot of fun that we had just by poking around a little bit. And I feel like the rest of this code still has value to it. So I want to keep it around. And I'm not going to get rid of it, but I am going to clean it up just a little bit. Make good use of white space. And I think that all looks pretty good. No weird stuff that's printing. I think I can live with all of this, and I think all of this looks pretty useful. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And so one of the things that I do, and I encourage you to do this as well, is whenever you get done writing your code, go ahead and push it up to a repository. So made a random character creator, generator. There we go. And I'll go ahead and push that up to the cloud. So that'll be there the next time I need it. And that was successful. All right, friends. Well, I hope you had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. Thank you all for being with me. I hope you have a great day. I'm off to start mine. That's my alarm letting me know that it's time to go. All right, friends. Thank you all for your time. Have a wonderful day.